Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're going to be taking a look here at the Master Grade Quel. Now, once again, this is the original Master Grade Quel, technically the only Master Grade Quel that we have, but we do now have the new version of this that you can make using the Premium Bandai Master Grade Gundam Hazel 2. You can make it into the GM Quel. So we're going to be taking a look at that directly after this. In this video, though, I will give you a side-by-side comparison to them, but I'll be talking a little bit more maybe about the comparison between them in the review for the Master Grade Hazel 2 as well, which, like I said, will come up after this. So in this video, though, of course, we are just pretty much going to focus on the kit here, because maybe for people who don't want to pay the extra money for the Master Grade Hazel 2 Premium Bandai kit and just want to be fine with just the original Master Grade Quel here, I want to give you guys a good review of just this kit here by itself. So as always, guys, big thank you to USA Gundam Store for their support, and if you want to check the link to their site, that's down below, as well as the coupon code there, ZakuAurelius10, where you can save 10% on everything there on their store. So while this kit is old, I gotta say it's really not that bad. The new kit is definitely a big improvement though, but again, if you're in the camp that you don't want to pay for the Premium Bandai kit, then I think that this is still a viable option if you want a nice Master Grade GM Quel. The kit overall is pretty solid. You've got two different options for rifle. You got a nice 120 scale figure included. You got some not bad options for the hands actually, and some different markings and things like that. So overall, I think it's still not that bad of a kit and pretty cheap. With the list price just being at 3,000 yen for this, it's not bad, and you're not going to really mind having to put in a little extra work to make it look its best. But let's start off taking a look at the accessories here with the stickers. Once again, these are just marking stickers, not waterside decals, unfortunately, but you have the big numbers there, some different caution markings, Titan's markings, Titan logos there. And then we do also have a set of dry transfer decals here. These are also quite nice, Titan's logos there, and then again, just the big number markings for that. We do have a little 1/100 scale pilot figure included. It's just kind of generic, it's not really meant to be anyone special, but we do have a larger not really pilot figure, we do have a larger figure here. This one just being of Nina Purpleton here, so it's just a one solid piece, so that's good. You don't have any seam lines or anything on this. That's nice. It is going to be in a little bit softer rubber though, and so you will have like the mold lines on the side that you won't really be able to sand quite as easily as if it were just polystyrene plastic, but this is pretty nice and it's in 120 scale, so it's a really nice figure to be included with this. Now for the hand options, you have these nice closed fists, but on the other side they're just looking very blocky like from the inside, but as long as you're not really looking at the inside of the fist, they look pretty good. If you don't want to actually be holding anything in the hands, you just want a nice solid closed fist there, they work pretty alright. Then we do also have just a set of just open hands like this. These are not movable or anything, the fingers don't move, they're just fixed open hands, you just swap those out. And then for actually holding onto the weapons and things, here we have this kind of old style Master Grade hands where the thumb is just on a ball joint there, and then the fingers are separated into the first finger, and then the second, third, and fourth finger are joined together there, so you can make a trigger finger hand or just a regular holding hand if you want. So these hands aren't great, they're not the best, but they're definitely not the worst either, so they're functional, they work pretty well, so I don't really have too much of a problem with them on these older Master Grade kits. You've got two clear pink beam saber effect parts, although you really only need one because it just has the one beam saber handle stored up there, although you do actually have a second beam saber handle one that you won't use for this kit, but you do have two in case you did want to use both of them. We've got the shield here, which is pretty nice, just pretty simple. It's got a connection for plugging that onto the back of the arm there. We do have two extra ammo clips down here. You have the handle, which will fold out. That just pulls out of there, and you can also rotate that around if you want, but you don't necessarily have to use that. If you want to just have the shield just plugged onto the arm, you can just fold it down like that out of the way. So it's pretty simple here. Those extra ammo clips are for this rifle, and this ammo clip on the rifle can also be removed like that if you wanted to. You can just plug that back in. Otherwise, nothing else moves on this. You do have a foil sticker there for the camera lens. It's basically just two halves sandwiched together though, so you will have a seam line down the middle of that for the most part. But it's nice, simple, the detail looks good, I like that. And then you do also have a second rifle option here, this one as well, with a little sticker for the camera. This one does have a moving part on it, just being that the handle on the side will move up and down. But again, it's relatively simple, but I think it looks good. Neither of these rifles can be plugged onto the kit for storage though, so you just gotta hold one in the hand. I suppose you could dual wield them if you want, or could like just scratch build some sort of connection piece to connect that onto the back skirt if you want. There's space there to do it, it just doesn't have anything built in. And so that is it for the accessories. No action base connector for this, so if you want to put this on an action base, you will have to use this fork style action base connector to just plug up onto there, and then you can plug this onto an action base. Now, as I mentioned before, the kit is pretty solid. That's one great thing about this particular era of Master Grades, is that the kits were really pretty solid at this time. Now, you do have seam lines kind of all over the place, and the articulation is not that great. The detail is kind of, it's alright, it doesn't have a ton of detail, it's got some on there. Proportions are generally okay too, but they were really solid Master Grade kits at the time. So let's take a look through some some of the articulation here. The head will really only go up to about there, which is not very far, and then down to about there, which is not a big up and downward range of movement there. But in behind this clear piece for the visor, there's some nice detail in there, so if you wanted to like paint in that detail up inside the visor, that's pretty nice. And also it's nice that the visor is just in plain clear, so you could paint that if you wanted to make it clear orange or clear green, clear blue, whatever you wanted to do with that. If you're going to be doing a custom color scheme on this, being able to paint that clear piece is going to be a nice addition. Now of course you do have foil stickers here and here for the cameras on the head and the chest. Around here on the back next to this cool antenna detail there, you do also have one more foil sticker for that. Up inside these thruster belts, that's not stickers, it's separate red parts in there, so it's a nice little detail for those. These do also move up and down, the little thruster bells in there, otherwise nothing really moves. On the backpack is just kind of as it is. The cockpit will open by just opening this up, pretty simple. You do have a seated pilot figure up inside there, that's simple enough. As far as any movement here in the torso though, it doesn't really have anything, it's just connected on a ball joint between the top and half bottoms of the kit, so basically whatever movement you can get out of that ball joint is going to be the limit of that, which is not that much. You can rotate that a little bit off to the sides like that, which is going to be the biggest point of movement here around the torso. As for the shoulders, you get a little bit of movement forward and back with those. That can move up by itself there, but ultimately you're only going to be able to bring the arm up to about 90 degrees to the kit there, like so. Otherwise the arm's going to work pretty normally. You have a rotation there at the top of the arm. You have a double joint in the elbow, which is going to give you a full bend at the elbow, so that's nice, but then the wrist is just going to be on ball joint. That's pretty standard. There is actually another joint in there behind the base of the connection for the wrist, so that will actually be able to move up and down a little bit, but it's so slight. You can see that will move up and down just a little bit there inside the forearm there. Now as for seam lines, you have a seam line down the whole front and back of that forearm. This upper arm part, you have a seam on that as well. Fortunately on the top part here, there's no seam line there, that's just covered by a piece there. And the shoulder, fortunately no seam line there, but as you can see, you have a seam line across the top of the torso, down the side of the torso, down the side of these parts on his side there as well. And let's move down here to the skirt armor. The skirt armor will move up and down on its own. You have some nice detail up under there. It's not a separate piece though, so you'll have to do just like paint that in if you want to make sure those details are painted. Fortunately, the little V in the crotch there is an actual separate piece, no sticker for that, so that's nice. The side skirts over here, these will also move up and down just a little bit. Again, no connection point to be able to plug anything onto the side skirts there, but you could very easily make something if you want. You have a lot of nice open space there to do so. Side skirts as well will also move up and down on their own, not a whole lot, but those will move up and down a little bit. You have some nice kind of vernier details here on the round on the underside of the waist unit there as well. It looks pretty good. And the hip joint connection there for the legs is just a ball and socket joint, so unfortunately not going to allow you a whole lot of rotation here at the top, just a little bit, and not going to allow you much width there in the spread of the legs, so that is about as far as you're going to get that. But let's take a look at the upward movement of the leg. You can bring that all the way up to there, for the knee is going to be crashing into the front skirt a little bit, but we can get that big giant knee out of the way. You can bring the leg up a little bit more and get that rotated about 90 degrees, maybe a little bit more, but not a whole lot more. Some nice detail on the inside of that knee joint though, and then on the back as well, you kind of have this cool hose detail on the knee joints, so those are pretty nice. Down here towards the bottom of the foot, one more foil sticker down there. The ankles can move side to side, not really a whole lot, just side to side like that, so you can't get a very wide stance out of this if it's just standing on the ground. Pretty big feet though, one not so nice feature about these older Masquerade kits in my personal opinion. This front ankle armor will move a little bit up and down there, and the forward and back movement as well, also not very much, just a little bit there. There's not really any toe bend to speak of either. The back of the foot does move, like kind of, or it doesn't really move, just kind of wiggles a little bit there like that. So the ankle overall, not a whole lot of really great movement there, it's pretty limited. Up underneath the feet though, you have some nice detail there, and vernier kind of thrusters there as well. So the articulation overall, it's not bad, and it's a pretty solid kit. Like I said, everything feels pretty solid. None of the joints like really feel very loose or anything, so the articulation and just movement of the kit overall is not too bad at all. There's not any points where it's like really amazing, but there's not any points where it really feels super limiting either, really. Alright, so here's a comparison with the Master Grade GM Quel sort of 2.0, I guess, if you will, considering it's based off of the Gundam Mark II 2.0 and the Hazel 2, which is just a premium Bandai kit once again, so this is something that you can make with that kit. Now, the first thing you'll notice, number one, is that the color's a little bit different. In the new kit, it's a little bit more purple than blue. And also the height difference, it's definitely got a little bit more height over the original kit as well. But other than that, you can also see just some small differences in proportions here and there. The details obviously a little bit different here and there. And just going around back here as well, you can see just some small differences in some of the design. But overall, definitely the new version is, I think, the better version, of course. But that said, the old version definitely is still holding up pretty well, I gotta say. One small thing also to point out is that the little V on the crotch here for the new version, that's just a sticker, whereas on the original kit was an actual separate part, so I don't know what this guy was doing. So there you have it, guys. With this being a 20-year-old kit now, obviously it's not going to live up to the expectations of a modern Master Grade, but as far as a 20-year-old Master Grade kit goes, I gotta say this kit is holding up pretty well. It doesn't have a full inner frame, but it does have some pretty alright articulation, some pretty alright details here and there, especially once the kit is gonna be all painted up. It's gonna look much nicer, fix up some of the seam lines, get rid of the kind of plasticky look of just the dark colored plastic that it's molded in. If it's just got a nice paint job on it, I think it's gonna end up looking pretty good if you're a big fan of grunt suits, especially this little bit more kind of super grunt suit sort of looking, if you're like a fan of the Jesta and mobile suits like that. And especially, of course, of the UC Century Timeline variety, then I think you're definitely going to enjoy this kit. And again, for the price, if you're just coming across this kit and you're looking for just something fun, interesting to build that you can just sink some time into and just make it look like a nice, relatively simple but good looking Master Grade, then I think it's going to be worth a purchase. So if you guys have any other further questions or comments, of course, feel free to leave those down below. And again, like I said before, I will be doing a review for the Master Grade Gundam Hazel 2, the premium Bandai Master Grade kit, where you can also make the Master Grade GM Quel out of that kit as well. I'll also have that review coming right up for you guys, so stay tuned to watch that if you're interested in that kit. That's definitely a better version of the Master Grade GM Quel if you were looking for the best version available, but I think that kit is probably going to be, of course, better suited to just turning that into a Hazel variant, of course. But once again, thank you to US Gundam Store for their support, guys, and I hope you all have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.